Gaming Bolt presents 15 things you need to know before you buy Assassin's Creed Origins. After a one-year hiatus, Assassin's Creed is coming back, and it looks like Origins is going to be exactly the kind of breath of fresh air the series needed. We can safely say that other than Black Flag, and to a much lesser extent Syndicate, Ubisoft's franchise hasn't been able to reach the same lofty heights that it so beautifully touched during the days of the Ezio trilogy. But we want that to change just as much as Ubisoft does, and Origins, it seems, is trying to be the game that finally makes that happen. There's a lot of new stuff in Origins, a lot to set it apart from what has come before in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and here, in this feature, we're going to take a look at 15 things about the game that are surely going to get you pumped about the future of the series. So without further ado, let's get right into it. No more towers. The first thing that you associate with a Ubisoft game today is towers, small dungeon-like sections that you have to complete and able to unlock another section of the map. Hell, the trend has become such a staple of the open-world genre by now that it goes beyond just Ubisoft. However, towers, which have long been a part of the series' identity ever since its conception in 2007, will not be making a return in Origins. Instead, it looks like exploration and discovery of the map will be a much more organic experience this time around. No more minimap. One thing that towers accomplished was that as soon as they were activated, your minimap would become littered with dozens upon dozens of side activities. As the Assassin's Creed series progressed through the years, that started to become more tedious than anything else. Rather than being helpful icons to guide you towards interesting side objectives, they turned into useless clutter that was best left ignored. Which is probably why it's a good idea that there is going to be no minimap in Assassin's Creed Origins. The game's going to have a compass bar, similar to the likes that we've seen in Skyrim and Horizon Zero Dawn. New combat system. Combat has often been criticized in Assassin's Creed games, which is probably why it's another thing that's getting overhauled in Origins. The most notable change is that combat is no longer based on preset animations, but on hitboxes, meaning that if you swing a weapon and there's nothing in your weapon's path, all you will hit is air. While that may seem like a small thing, it's a first for the series and actually promises to change up the combat a great deal. This also means that different kinds of weapons will play differently. Long weapons like spears and short ones like swords will have different playstyles. In fact, status conditions like being knocked down to the ground or being stunned or having your shield broken will also have a major part to play. Improved stealth. Of course, it's not always going to be about the combat. Stealth has often played a major role in the Assassin's Creed series, and it will continue to do so with Origins. There's going to be a much larger focus on you using the environment to help you with stealth sections, so you should always be on the lookout for stuff in your surroundings that can help you distract or even kill some of your enemies. You can also choose to focus your progression on archery so that you can become a long-range stealthy sniper of sorts. There's also no more one-hit kills in the game, so if you truly wish to master the stealth aspect of this game, you're going to have to work on it. RPG elements, which of course brings us to our next point. Assassin's Creed has been seeing the inclusion of more and more RPG-like systems, but it looks like Assassin's Creed Origins is going to fully embrace that identity. It looks like it's not going to be an action-adventure game anymore, but rather an action RPG. There's going to be skill trees like before, yes, but they're going to be much more elaborate, and rather than just handing out perks, they're going to determine whether or not you can perform even basic moves, or what your character's stats are. Leveling up. While skill trees have often been seen in Assassin's Creed over the years, this year they're actually going to mean something. Your health, your ability to take someone out with one kill, how good you are with a bow and arrow, how good you are at combat, almost everything the game needs you to do will be dependent on how you choose to level up. So, for instance, if you want to specialize in stealth or in archery, you're going to have to dedicate yourself to upgrading those branches of the skill tree. New controls. This is one of the points that helps us truly understand just how much Assassin's Creed Origins is looking to change, not just for the sake of it. One of the most fundamental things that's going to receive an overhaul in Origins is the controls, and this is mostly thanks to the new combat system. The new controls are going to be built around the combat. And since the combat system in Origins is going to be a lot different from what's come before in the series, so will the controls. However, for players who are used to the old layout, legacy controls will still be an option. Eagle Vision. Eagle Vision, another thing that has been a staple of the Assassin's Creed series since its very first days back in 2007, is also going to be changed drastically in Assassin's Creed Origins. Rather than the Vision mode similar to Detective Vision in Arkham games or the Witcher Vision in Witcher 3, Origins is going to see you control an actual eagle named Sinu. You can control Sinu and fly above the environment and use this to scout out ahead in terms of the surroundings and enemies and appropriately plan out your future moves. Arena fights. We've seen and heard much of the Gladiator Arena in Assassin's Creed Origins, and apparently it's going to have a major role to play in the game, other than being the obvious place where you go to practice and get your fill of combat. The arena is apparently going to start out as a part of the story itself, but will then branch out and become an entirely side activity in and of itself. There's going to be bosses and mini-bosses, several kinds of fights, and everything that goes with it. Camel riding. Horse riding has been around in Assassin's Creed games since the very first game came out a decade ago, but it's the time of the camel now. We're in ancient Egypt after all, and if there's one thing we love about ancient Egypt more than the pyramids and the sand dunes, it's gotta be the camels. We're going to be the king of the camels, because camels, as we know, are superior to horses in every possible way. The origins of the Brotherhood. Assassin's Creed Origins is going to be the very first game in the chronology of this series, and it's going to explain how the game's protagonist fought against an organization that is the precursor of the Templars, and then eventually founded the Brotherhood of the Assassins themselves. It's definitely an interesting concept, and it looks like Ubisoft are going to be playing with the series' lore in a lot of interesting ways. We cannot wait to see how it plays out. Vast and varied landscapes. Ancient Egypt is a wonderful time and place to set any game in, especially Assassin's Creed, and it's going to be an absolute joy to explore the vast and varied landscapes of the region. Deserts, desert forests, oases, ancient cities, and historical locations are all going to be in there, and we expect them to be recreated beautifully, from pyramids to old cities. Ubisoft have even taken the help of NASA's satellite images for the same, so expect Ancient Egypt to blow us away come October. Taming animals. The vast and open landscapes of Assassin's Creed Origins are of course going to be densely populated. Expect to see a great deal of wildlife, from boars and pigs to crocodiles and hippos. And while hunting and tracking these animals for resource gathering and equipment upgrading will obviously be a part of the gameplay loop, players will also be able to tame these animals and make use of them in combat scenarios. Underwater exploration. Water is important to the Assassin's Creed series, with boating introduced in Assassin's Creed 2, naval sections in Assassin's Creed 3, and then all-out piracy in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Players have been spending more and more time off-land with each new game, and that will continue to evolve in Origins. While we cannot expect the same bombastic naval battles of Black Flag here, Origins is still going to have entirely explorable areas that are going to be underwater, riddled with hidden treasures, rare items, and precious resources. These parts surely sound like they're worth looking forward to. Tomb raiding. Remember the tombs in Assassin's Creed 2. These were completely optional areas that were riddled with thrilling platforming sections and brilliant puzzles, and were probably some of the best parts of the entire game. Tombs, it seems, are going to make a return in Origins, and we couldn't be more excited. What's more, it seems like a lot of these tombs are designed based on research that Ubisoft did of actual real-life tombs, so color us intrigued. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Bolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.